Hello guys, in this video we are going to continue talking about or solving some problems regarding the unit test on Monday. Here we have this problem. Select all polynomials that are divisible by x plus 1. Choose all answers that apply. You might be tempted to start dividing each polynomial by x plus 1. And while that could be a way you could do it, it's a little bit longer. And so there's a shortcut, there is a workaround, and that is using the polynomial remainder theorem. Well, there are three things that are true here with this problem. Well, x plus 1 is a factor of p of x because it's fully divisible. So it's a factor of p of x. That's true. P of x, which is all of this, is divisible by x plus 1. That is also true. It's telling me that. And the remainder, p of x divided by x plus 1 equals 0. So taking that into account, let's start working with our problem. Remember what we did yesterday. All right, so what you're trying to do here is to determine whether each one is fully divisible by x plus 1. That means that they should not, the answer shouldn't be anything other than 0. Okay, so let's write our polynomials here. B, C of x, and finally d of x. Okay, so for the first one, remembering what we did yesterday, okay, hope you remember that part. Taking the polynomial remainder theorem, we know that for all of these cases, okay, let me write it here. For all of these cases, p of x is -1. Do you remember? Do you remember that whenever you have a polynomial, a factor in this form, x plus 1, and this is basically equal to x minus 1. And so a in this form, p of a, is gonna be this. Okay, remember that we did that yesterday. All right, so in that case, we're just gonna take this here and substitute it by each one of our polynomials. So let's do that. The first one is -1 to the power of 4 minus 3 times 1 to the power of 3 minus 4. Okay, you can do that with your calculator as I am trying to do this video, so you can tell me the answer. And the second one is, okay, we have -1 again to the power of 4 plus 2 minus 1 plus 1. Okay, and the third one we have -1 to the power of 3 minus 3 to the power times -3 times 1 squared plus 4. Guys, sometimes I will make mistakes in regards to how I describe these polynomials. Please take a look at what I'm doing so that you better understand what's going on. If I make a mistakes in regards to how if I call a variable a number, please ignore that and just focus on what I'm doing. All right, and finally, the last one is negative 1 to the power of 3 plus 2 times 1 squared minus 5 times minus 1 minus 6. Okay, and so here we have this problem. Okay, so now we just need to do a little bit of arithmetic to find the solution to our problem. Oops, that's not it. This is it. All right, so let's take a look at the first one. This, I know that it's going to be 1. All right, so 1. Oh, my word. Okay, so after you're done, with the arithmetic of each problem, you end up with 0 here, 0 here, negative 10 here, and 0 here. Please go use your calculator to check these values. So what it's telling me is that this one, C, is not fully divisible. So I would select, so you need to select A, B, and D. And that would be the end of that problem. Okay, so now let's take a look at this other problem. Here we have divide the polynomials. Your answer should be in the form p of x plus k divided by x, or k over x, where p is a polynomial and k is an integer. Okay, so this one is a little bit straightforward. It just tells us divide that. Okay, so you can do it both. You can always do all these problems in different ways. One way in which you can do it is just dividing each term by x. Since this is only one term, you can come to an easy conclusion by just saying 3x to the power of 3 divided by x, and just let's take a look at what's going on here with the first one. Remember what in division, this is basically what you're doing. Okay, because this one has 1, everything divided by 1 is the same number on the numerator. So this first one would be 3x to the power of 2. So that would be it. And the second one with the same sign is going to be 1. Okay, because x minus 1 is x to the power of 0, which is 1. So this one would be 1 and the negative sign, and this finally would be 2 over x, and that would be your remainder. All right, so that's one way to do it, and this will be your answer. Another way to do this, it's just using long division. This is not necessary because you only have one term as your denominator. So in this case, it's much easier to do it like this. But when you can also do this by using long division. You see, 3x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2. Okay, so first we need to find a term which multiplication is going to equal this term here. So I know that this one has 1 here, so if I multiply 3 times 1, I'm going to get 3. And if I multiply x squared times x, I'm going to get x squared, 3x squared. So, and in this case, whenever you're dividing, you subtract the terms. Okay, so in this case, that's going to be 0. So I get x. You don't have to write 0, because 0, it's, you don't have to write that. So then you get the second term down, x. And then, well, x divided by x is 1. So in order to get this number, I need to multiply, or this term, sorry. I always say number when I have to say term or variable. So negative 1 times x is negative x. And I need to have the same sign here because you always flip the sign. So this should be positive now. This is 0. And then you have a remainder of negative 2, which you can really divide. You cannot divide a constant integer by a variable. So your answer is going to be in this form. Negative 2 over x. And you see, in both cases, that's the same answer. Let's take a look at the last problem here. Here, this is the same problem as the last one that we just did, but it's a little bit longer. It's a longer polynomial and divided by a binomial, a polynomial that is comprised of two terms. Okay, and so it tells us the same thing, that the answer should be either p of x or p of x plus k over x minus 5, where p of x is a polynomial and k is an integer. Okay, as I said before, you can use different ways to write your division. That's the way I prefer, is this way because it's more intuitive to me, where this number here will be the dividend, I'm gonna just write dividend, and this right here is the divisor, I'm gonna just write divisor, DVS, dividend, divisor, and this number here is the quotient. So you can also write it like this. You should not be confused with the signs that we use in division. Those signs are really not relevant. You can also use this where your divisor is here and your dividend, DVD, I'm using different letters, it's okay. Dividend, and your quotient is, this is the one that you're used to. This to me is less intuitive. This one looks more like a division, but that's fine. Some people do it like this, where the divisor is here, the divisor is here, and the dividend is here, and the quotient is here. It really doesn't matter. So let's use this one here. All right, we have this. Remember, this is the divisor, the number that divides this number, and this is the dividend, or the number being divided, and this is the quotient, the result of the division. Okay, quotient. Okay, so all right, so let's start. This is the last part. Okay, now we need to find a number or a term that when I multiply by x, it's gonna give me this term, x squared, 5x to the power of 3. Trying to explain something in English when your first language is Spanish, it's a little bit difficult. All right, so 5x squared. Okay, so 5x squared times x, it's this. Okay, so you're always trying to get the first term. Okay, but you need to multiply by both terms. So 5x squared times 5 is going to be negative 25x squared. Okay, and something real important, you need to remember this. If you don't remember this, it's gonna be wrong every time. You need to flip the signs. So this is going to be a negative, this will be negative, and this will be positive. And if you can see, the first one cancels out, and you're left with your second term, which is 25 positive minus 22x. Remember that whenever you have the same term on both sides, you subtract the coefficients. So 25 minus 22 is 3x squared. You get this one down, minus 17x. Okay, and you do the same now. Okay, what number? Well, I have 3 here and x, so I must get a 3x, because 3x times x is indeed 3x squared. Okay, and I have to do it by both. 3 times 5 is 15, negative, of course, x. Okay, I have this. Okay, now, again, really, really important. Flip the signs, negative, positive. Okay, this will cancel out, and I'll be left with positive 15 minus 17x, which is negative 2x. Remember, in this case, we're just subtracting or adding the coefficients. And finally, you get your last one, which is 11. Okay, in this case, you have negative 2x, so let's choose negative. And I have x here, so I only need 2. Okay, so 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Okay, so here we change the signs. So this will cancel out, and this 11 minus 10 is 1, positive. So it has a remainder of 1. So how do you write that? Well, remember that this is, I didn't write it here because it's I didn't have space, but this is how you write this, okay? 5x squared plus 3x minus 2 plus, because it's positive, 1 over x minus 5. And this, my friends, will be your final answer. Well, I hope you liked this video. It was a little bit long. Excuse my grammatical mistakes in English, but I try my best. I'll see you guys in the next one.